our vets class heading out now, heading through that first turn area. Battles raging here. Who's going to bump in? Look at those bikes all trying to take up the same piece of real estate there, but it's going to be a Kawasaki getting out there at the front. Mounted 79. Mitchell Budd taking over.
This is one of those classes where there's a few older bikes. There's a few older setups. There's a few different sort of styles.
Number 9 machine. He's on the Suzuki this weekend. A couple of weekends ago, he was on a Husky at the New South Wales off-road event running the vets class. Showing everybody around the track. He was actually in the, might have been in the Masters or something class, I think, as well, because he ended up winning the Clubman overall combined with the women's and the vets. He got that one done there for the 2-hour cross country. So he was showing everybody the fast way around the bush loop, and now he's getting amongst it again in the motocross scene.
So he's clearly got the fitness to do a 2-hour cross country, and then he's also got the skill set to handle some of the mud and slippery
conditions. Got that whole shot early. He's dropped back in the 8th now, and then it's the 8.84 of Christopher Kent. He's in 9th, and Adam Beck currently 10th in this one. So plenty of action going on for our vets out on circuit. Now, just for our vets, because they are the older statesmen, we have made them do 15 minutes plus 1. So it is a nice, decent moto length for them. There is Stephen Wand on the screen, and it is, in fact, the YZ 252 stroke by the looks of it, that he is on board, holding down 4th position.
And it's a bit of an older model too, mate. It's not
one of the fresh ones, no.
It's not one of the fresh ones from Yamaha Motor Australia, that's for sure. But this is what I love about this class. It just doesn't make a huge difference, right? It's a class where these guys, the skill is really where it's at. It's not a huge money class and who's got the latest and greatest. And I think being in 15-minute motos too, it really brings out that fitness aspect, that even if you were on a late model bike that was a bit faster and making a bit more power, it may not make all the difference.
Just watching those guys drop onto the main start, onto the start area there. How's that area? Are you near that section, Russ, to see how that's developing? Because that was a bit of a problem section for our track yesterday, those ruts coming onto the start straight area.
Yeah, I'm standing right here in the middle of the start straight again, Dave. I'd actually just wandered on here to take a bit of a look for myself because I could start to see some of that hard pack being exposed underneath the top, say, inch or two of mulch and topsoil. Lines are going everywhere. There's wiggly lines. There's no straight lines. They're all going left and right all over the place. I don't know that I'm seeing a distinct advantage of any line here inside the straightest line to hit that apex, and in this race to be able to just basically hold it wide open throttle, which should put you high up into the Dantia barriers there for turn 2 and set you up for turn 3 in the Canard Tyre corner. But yeah, it's a very interesting start straight, very different to what we had at Canberra, where the position I think made a lot more difference. But here I think it's fairly even across the board, mate, at least for the first or the last, should I say, 20 positions on the gate.
Yeah, it's a bit more of an even start there on that outside of the gates here at Lake Macquarie. We're just watching this battle here for 4th position. We've got Stephen Wand on the YZ250, just struggling out of that rut actually, and he's going to close the gap back a little bit. But yeah, in 5th position is Daniel Collins on the 254. On the KTM, he's closing in on Wand. And we'll have to see if he can get any closer or not, but the battle here is definitely for 4th. With a couple of laps to go here. I think we're going to have 2 laps to go at this point with our clock counting down to 0. So we'll have to see where Mitchell Budd is up to on the circuit, because he'll be the one that gets that last lap board. Currently leading at the front. Noticing that gap there too. I haven't seen them on camera recently, but the gap's back down to 0.3 of a second at the front. So maybe we have to check in with our leader. But I dare say Wand's having to really stretch that cable on that YZ250 at this venue, trying to get the power to the ground to keep those 450s at bay up the hills, because he'll be down on a little bit of torque out of the corner, and then a little bit of top end horsepower at the top as well. So a bit of work for him to get that Yamaha around the circuit.
Daddy, why would you going up? Unpredictable at the moment, especially the water that they're putting down very quickly. But yeah, overall.
Really well done. I want to see how you go for the rest of that. Congratulations. Well done. Boys,